This is Real Women, celebrating women in independent film. I'm your host, Brenda Daly. I'm an actor, writer, producer, director. I am here to inspire women by them listening to other women that are doing exactly what they want to do, which is create films and to live a creative life. So today I'm here to talk to Amy Cay. She is doing a film that's out there right now called The Case of Dakota Moore. And she also has a new film that she's still in production and it's called Torment. She is an actress, producer, and she also works in the sound department. So I want to say hello to Amy. Amy, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Good. So I know I wanted to ask you, when did you get started in the industry and what was your first step in? Like, was it an actress or?
Yeah, so I started with Hacksaw after I had met Anthony Leone. So I just started with acting. And prior to that, I didn't have any experience with acting. I considered it. So when I met him, it was kind of actually, we were joking about it, me being in one of his movies, because he had previously just filmed Assumption. And I had joked with him, and I said, you should put me in one of your horror movies, you know, kills off the blonde kind of a situation, just being cute and funny. And he ended up saying, yeah, actually, I would use you as the lead actress in Hacksaw. And so, yeah, it just ended up just kind of everything fell into place. So that's how I got started. It's kind of funny. So
Yeah, and have you ever had any acting training?
no. Mm-mm.
And you've lived in Los Angeles, or I'm sorry, you live in Hemet, right? Hemet, California?
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
okay. So how
Yeah.
did that movie go, Hacksaw?
Really well. It's a very raw Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of a movie,
Hmm.
which is totally up my alley. I like those kind of movies, anyways. It was fun. It was a really good learning experience, and he was able to communicate with me, you know, what he wanted from me as far as acting. And so I've learned a lot, just kind of a hands-on experience. And I know there's more to learn, but it's just kind of fun how everything, you know, came together.
Yeah, I feel like with filmmaking, because I've been doing it for a while, a long time, a lot of short films and so I just finished my first feature film, but I feel like even as long as I've been doing it and as long as I've been around it, I still feel like I'm learning something, you know?
Always.
And so it's so, and everything's so unexpected. And I feel like when you're a filmmaker, I always say you're the puzzler. We like really difficult puzzles. And we like to solve problems, and so we're big problem solvers. So what was the inspiration for the disappearance of, is that what it's called, the case of Dakota Moore? What was the
So another funny story. At the time, I was actually living off of a friend's boat due to work. And I was on the phone with Anthony one night, and because we were talking, you know, projects, and, you know, he writes a lot of scripts. So we were discussing certain things, and we were FaceTiming. And he's sitting there and he's looking and he goes, "Where are you?" And he said, I'm on a boat. I'm on my friend's boat. And he was so perplexed. He goes, "Wait, you're on a boat?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was just, "Wait, why are you staying on a boat?" It was a whole funny thing. And so I was like, watch, knowing us, we're going to turn this into, you know, some kind of a movie, you know, about a girl or, you know, a vlogger staying on a boat and something happens. And it just, so we just started talking, and then we actually ended up coming up with this story, all because I was staying on a friend's boat. You know, we feed off of each other, the creativity.
right?
And
Are you in most every one of his projects then?
just about. Assumption I wasn't in. He has another one that's coming up that I'm going to just be doing the editing strictly. But for the most part, a lot of his films, yes, there's either like a cameo role or lead or.
Right. Okay. Okay. I was just wondering. So it looks like you've done so much since.
Mhm.
And I know that the case of Dakota Moore is already in distribution, right?
Yes, yep, it's free on Tubi.
Okay, that's cool. So how is it doing on Tubi?
As far as I know, I mean, Midnight Releasing, they're in control of that. So, but as far as I know, I've just been promoting it, and I know a lot of just, you know, personal friends have watched it. They really like it. it's like a murder documentary horror, you know, kind of like a First 48, but in a full feature film.
Right.
So,
So it's kind
but
of like a found footage almost, because I noticed that you play the character that's missing.
correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so of course, in order to find the clues, they're actually watching her social media videos.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And then they're solving a mystery. Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So are are you like hooked? Because I know that as filmmakers we just get hooked.
Mm-hmm.
So you're
Absolutely.
and when now did you co-write this case of Dakota Moore?
Anthony just strictly wrote it. He wrote the script, and then I did I would say about 90% of the filming, and then I did the editing, and I didn't do the scoring for this one, but I worked with a gentleman named Kim Schultz that I worked with him directly on that as far as doing the scoring during the scenes with the detective and, you know, the brother and everything. So
You filmed, but what'd you film on?
iPhone 11 Max Pro, actually.
Oh,
It had
okay.
just come out, you know, and so I remember Lady had ended up doing a music video filming on that phone. And so when this whole thing kind of fell into place, that's when Anthony and I, this would be a perfect phone to film on because the camera was, you know, brand new and looked beautiful. And so, yeah, everything was strictly on a iPhone 11.
Well, that's great though. No, I think a lot more people are doing that because when you think about it, it's cost effective, and I think for
Right.
women in film. So first of all, the message here is you can make a movie on anything, pretty
Right.
much. You know, your phone if you don't have any other camera. I think so there's no excuse not to follow your dream, and I think too that with it's small and compact. I know you can buy like accessories and stuff for your phone, but for the most part, it's small and compact, and you can film it in 4K on your phone. I think there's a Sony phone out there that was doing 6K 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so they were already, upping. I don't know if 6K is necessary though. 4K is hard enough to deal with in editing anyway.
Such a large file, right? Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. And then what program did you use to edit on?
Adobe, actually. Yeah. So it was an older Adobe because, again, this was a few years ago, and then I've recently upgraded to the newer Adobe Premiere Pro that I like a lot. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I use DaVinci Resolve, but I really like it because you pay once and then you don't pay again. There's a free version, but I think if you're just starting out in editing, go ahead and do the free version. But I think for the extra $300 and you get to keep it for life, and it always upgrades for you. You don't have to worry about paying for the upgrade.
Right.
So that's pretty important. So is there anything else you would ask? Would you tell an aspiring filmmaker what you would, if you had any advice to give them, what would you give them?
Oh my gosh. Uh, Hold back whatever idea that you have to create, you know, regardless of whatever anyone else might think, or, you know, because everyone has their own taste in movies, but to just do it. I mean, because if 7 years ago, before I even filmed Hacks Off, if I were to go back to then and say, can you believe in about 7 years you're going to be editing, producing, and filming? I would laugh and like, you're a crazy lady. But, you know, you just jump in and you just do it, and you never know what can come of it. So just do it. Don't hold back, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, I agree. I think that sometimes your creativity, if it's in full mark view, because sometimes it's like not, you don't want to do anything but watch Netflix at home. But I think when you have an idea, you just need to grasp onto it, because
Yeah.
otherwise you won't get anything done. And just be willing to do the work. I think sometimes the pieces don't fit, so you
Right.
have to go back and make them fit if you want to get a good quality project. So,
Right.
what woman in film inspired you to be a filmmaker, or maybe an actress that you saw?
Oh gosh, honestly, I guess this is my dark side, but I watched Saw 2 in high school, and I remember I loved the setting, and I loved the actress that played Amanda,
Mm-hmm.
and especially in Saw 3, I just loved her character. She's just so different, and just I don't know, I just loved those movies. There's been a lot of different actresses, though. To pinpoint one, I can't say I have one, but again, just going back to Saw, I just really admired her, like in her acting, and she was just off her rocker. And I was like, man, that'd be just so cool to be in a horror movie, to play some kind of a character like that. And yeah, and here we are.
Yeah, I
So
think too, we don't really realize how creative we can be until we end up in a creative medium. So is horror most of the genre that you've been doing?
yes, exactly. Yeah, we did a couple of short films. One of them actually a sci-fi, and that one was fun. Kind of a drama sci-fi, again, more found footage. Quarantine Chronicles
Mm-hmm.
um, will be released on YouTube soon for the public to see. We're just letting it circulate through film festivals right now, so that was different. But for the majority of it, yeah, we did a couple of comedies. Mike and Fred versus the Dead is another one. I don't know if you've heard about that film.
Mm-hmm.
That's also in film festivals right now, and that one's a comedy. I'm not the lead. I play a sister of one of the main characters, but that's also been fun to kind of tap into the more comedic side of things, and just, yeah. So a couple
Did
of different things.
did the case of Dakota go through the film festival circuit?
It did, yeah. We got, I think, 2 laurels for that one, and then that's when we'd reached out to Midnight, and then they ended up buying it for distribution. So,
Oh, well, that's good. Did they buy
mhm,
it outright?
mhm.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
Yes, yes.
That's really nice. So,
Mhm.
what did you do to raise money for your budget?
I was out of pocket strictly between Anthony and myself. That's pretty much how we've done all of our films, is just, out of our own pocket. But we've been able to be really strategic and smart, again, with how we're able to film and what we do. And, as far as the money, goes, because again, it's very micro budget, but our goal is, even though we have that budget, is to make it look like there's more money involved,
Of course, of course.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just us
So,
funding it. So
so what was the budget for the case of, if you don't mind telling me?
not at all. I have to think. Got maybe 2 grand. I mean, it wasn't a lot. It really wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
So
didn't. I know she didn't have a huge cast or anything. And
right, exactly.
then how many days of filming was it?
Well, we kind of had to spread it out again because I was staying on the boat and with work. So we started. I'm trying to think. I think it was end or middle of September of 2019, and we finished the bulk of it by, I want to say, I think it was February or March of the next year. But then as I was going through the editing, I was like, there needs to be more to this. We need a little bit more, because nobody wants to just watch a girl filming herself running around. Like, we need to add more of an edge element. And so that's when I started, it's like, what if we have the killers that are recording, torturing their different victims, and then they're sending them out, to people, and they send them to her to freak her out. So then we came up with that idea. So then we finished filming those scenes, I think by the end of, yeah, no, it was spring of 2020, right? Because I was before the pandemic.
Well, that's good.
So I would say, right. So yeah, I would say about a year is, again, spread out. Maybe a total of like a month if you have the consecutive days.
Mhm. And how long is the movie?
Oh, an hour and 18 minutes, I want to say.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty long.
It is long. Yeah, it's a pretty good, decent length movie.
Oh,
So.
definitely. So, and
Hmm.
you have another film that's coming up
Hmm.
and that you're working on. And can you tell people about that one?
Torment.
Yes.
So, Torment was written and directed by Anthony Leone. I play the lead actress in it, and I play basically like a very robotic Hannibal Lecter. The tagline is "Everyone has secrets," and so, without giving too much away, per Anthony's request, it's just about, you have 2 girls that I end up holding this gal hostage. That's all I'm going to say.
Hmm.
And you basically end up learning that both of them have their own kind of deep, dark secrets. And then I'm just this, again, like robotic, just kind of psycho, nothing really affects me. And I just am going and nothing is going to stand in my way,
So you're a
basically.
sociopath in it.
Basically, yeah. And it's by far our best work yet. And so, yeah, he filmed and directed it. And then I did the editing. And now I'm doing the scoring for the first time, really diving into the scoring. And so,
So you're a musician or?
I use programs. So I have a program that I use, and I listen to, different scoring clips, and then I basically take those and I manipulate it to, match the scene, and even layering different sounds too. I wish I had more of like the setup, where I could create it myself, but again, budget and everything. But
Right.
yeah.
Well, I think too, as a filmmaker, when you talk about budget and tools that you need, I feel like that you just build as you go.
Exactly.
Like
Right.
I know you made the film on an iPhone, and maybe you're making the next few on an iPhone, but then the next one is, you're going to end up buying a camera and then the lenses, and so then the quality just keeps kicking up and kicking up. Because I think like what we do normally with our filmmaking is we always reinvest. I don't know if we ever spend the money on anything but our projects.
Exactly. Yeah, so Torment, Anthony filmed on his Sony A6500, but he has a Zeiss glass. And so we were talking about that for future projects. He's like, I just want to keep, it's just like this repetitive, okay, we, sell this movie, we get some money, and then, we now invest in other tools and, what we can do to make the filming better in the future. So you're totally right on that. So.
Yeah, I know. I have a whole room full of stuff.
Lenses, the cameras, yeah.
So what's the goal for you?
Oh my gosh. Truthfully, I have developed such a passion for editing and sound that I love the acting part of it too, but to be able to work on other projects and, edit other people's work and maybe get hired as an editor, I think would be fantastic, because I love it so much. It's fun, to be in front of the camera is great, but I've just developed this passion for even being like just behind the scenes and taking the puzzle pieces and putting them together, and just watching this project just kind of mold into just this amazing monster, like that's what I've really, again, editing Torment was really my first true experience with like more of a cinematic, because found footage with Dakota was different. I feel like that's a little bit easier to edit. I'm sure you know what I'm saying, but this one, Torment was strictly cinematic. It's a movie. And so it was such a learning experience, but man, I love it. The coloring and, just learning all that has just been fantastic. So
yeah,
I guess
it's just very time consuming for sure.
Yes, ma'am.
But I feel like if you focus it on the one thing, like I always feel like I'm trying to do everything, but I think if you can focus on that one thing that you're good at, and then I don't know about Adobe, but usually if you're a member, you get free. They give free classes.
Right.
So.
And that and YouTube. YouTube has been my college. I've found some really wonderful people to follow, and yeah, that's my free college, is online through YouTube.
Yeah, and I think too, you also can build a. So I go to I'm on this distribution group. There's a lot of groups that you can go on that, when you're running into problems, there's always somebody there to help you. And they usually don't charge a dime. So, because they're all interested in what you're doing and they all want to be part of something that's, growing. So I think that's the key to the low budget filmmaker. And I always feel like for me, and I feel like with your personality, you're a little bit like me, is you're not afraid to ask.
Right.
If there's something that you're goal oriented, it's okay. People say no, or if they don't want to be part of it, but asking's not a problem. And I think it just makes you stronger, because the people who do say yes are usually the people that you're supposed to be talking to.
Exactly.
They kind of enter into your world. So
definitely, I agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So where do you find your other actors for your movies?
I've honestly just met them through Anthony, and one of Luke Pensabene, who's been a co-producer and executive producer for some other movies. He's had a lot of connections. So just through networking, through friends, and it's kind of a small world. It's interesting, San Diego, you know, you think like it's going to be hard to find actors or actresses, but it's actually been relatively simple. It's just such a small world. And so it's great to find just such amazing talent, you know, because my other films, I really wasn't ever able to, not that I wasn't able to, but I would act with Anthony and manipulating it like I was actually acting with someone else. I never had. And it actually wasn't until Mike and Fred versus the Dead where I really had my first interaction, like actually acting with someone else. And that's really fun. So it's, yeah, I've met a lot of great talent for sure.
Yeah, plus you learn a lot. Like when because you haven't taken any formal training, they'll usually give you tips. And, you know, if you're already in it, sometimes that's your best way of learning. At least I find it works really well for me. And then, of course, I mean, I don't know, when I direct actors, I usually, I have an idea of how I want it to go, but I try to pick the right actor for the right part. And then I usually let them do what they need to do first.
Right.
And then I'll adjust from what they're doing, because no two actors are going to play the same part the same way.
Exactly.
So you want to make sure you kind of see what they do and then try to tweak them into what, you know, what you feel is right for the project. So, but yeah, it's been super exciting. So I wanted to ask you, is there like a website, or is there any way anybody to get a hold of you? You said you had a YouTube channel. Is there any way you could tell people how to get a hold of you if they lived in your area and wanted to be part of one of your films?
Basically, the best way would be just through Instagram. That's really my YouTube channel is kind of different. But as far as, you know, reaching out would be Instagram. Truthfully, that's where I do a lot of my promotion. It's Amy K page. So that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. So.
Okay. And is there anything that you want to tell people about you that we did not cover?
Oh gosh. No, that's pretty much cut and dry. That's me in a nutshell.
So how many film festivals did you enter this recent film in?
Torment?
Yeah.
We haven't submitted yet because we're just finishing up on the sound right now. So probably over I'm going to say 2 weeks, it should be ready for submitting. So.
Okay. And where do you normally pick your film festivals?
Off of Film Freeway.
Yeah, but you just pick them off of just if they're random, or are you trying to reach for the bigger ones?
Yeah, especially Torment, we're definitely going to hit the bigger ones.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Very
I think what's the one that's coming up that Slam Dance? That's a pretty big one, you know. And so for filmmakers out there, the first few films, of course, I would just try to get it in any film festival that you know that you can get some sort of laurel. But as far as once you start upping your game, you know, then you want to do you want to try to get like South by Southwest, and you want to get on Slam Dance, and you want to get Cannes is good, but it's really not. It's more of a distribution festival.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I only entered my feature film into one because I didn't, you know, when you're a filmmaker, you're not really sure how it's going to be received.
Exactly.
So when I entered the film festival, I picked one that was an IMDb rating, which I would suggest to anybody. Find the ones that get you that IMDb on your credit, because then you're not really wasting your money, and at least you'll have the film tagged by an IMDb. But I did that with my last film, and I was just trying to get notes because they said, well, if you don't make the festival, then you get notes. And I was like, okay, I just needed notes because I didn't have any notes, and we actually won.
Oh, awesome.
And then we're also Academy. We have an opportunity to apply for an Academy Award. But the problem with that is that it's got to be seen at a theater for 7 consecutive days, 3 times a day, and the price is like $7,000. It's like, that's what I spent on the movie.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's wonderful. That's great.
I'm hoping that I'm still trying to figure out, because I have to have it done by December. But I think that if you really, really read through your festivals,
Right.
You know, make
Exactly.
sure you know what you're paying for, you know. Sometimes it's better to pay a little higher price because this one was expensive. Little bit
Yeah.
higher price, but at least if you get something out of it, even just notes, because notes
Right.
are very valuable for the next project.
Right. Get what you pay for, almost, in a sense, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, it's been super fun, Amy. I'm so glad we finally got to do this. I know I think I was half sleeping the last time, but you are very inspiring because you started out in 2017, and a lot of people like they spend their whole lifetime going to school and classes, but they don't really do anything because they're afraid, and so you're a very brave person to just put it all out there because people are
Thank
can be very, very mean, but you know
you.
what? You don't have to care about them because not everybody's going to like everything you do. And
Right.
not everybody's going to like you, and not everybody's going to like your projects. But sometimes there's those people that love what you're doing, wish they could be you, wish that they just, put it out there and see what happens because I think those are the most successful people of all.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, so this is Real Women celebrating women in independent film, and today we celebrated Amy Cay. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you so much.
Okay.